Hello, this is going to be a quick walkthrough of how to use the Printrbot using Repetier and Mac OS. Going to start by opening the Repetier software. Going to go to Applications, find Repetier Host Mac, double click and open that. Okay, the very first thing we're going to do when we get into this is we're going to make sure that the printer is plugged in and powered on. Good chance that when you plug it in, you'll get this network interface has been connected. Just say cancel. Okay, next we're going to click on this button up here to connect to the printer. Down here it should say that the connection has been opened. To verify that the connection has been opened, click on Print Panel and attempt to home an axis. That should jog the bed or the arm or home the Z up and down. If it moves, then you're in good shape. Okay, if the printer does not connect, usually to get it to connect you can just disconnect the USB plug, plug it back in, and that will again bring up this error. You can click cancel and then click connect, and you should connect. Okay, second thing we're going to do is we're going to raise the nozzle up off of the bed so it's not in the home position. We're going to raise it up 10 at least. And we're going to start the heater heating. So we're going to click on this button here and get the heater going. If you're going to be changing the filament color, you'll want to do that, and it's also just a good way to get a head start on printing. Okay, if you do need to change your filament color, you're going to follow these steps. Start by coming over here, clicking on Print Panel, making sure that the nozzle temperature is on. When you turn that on, you can click on the temperature readout. The light blue line will show the temperature that is set, and the red line will show you the temperature the nozzle is at. So you won't be able to pull the filament out from the nozzle until it's up to temperature. So we need to wait for it to get up to at least 170 degrees to 200 degrees. So you can see here that it is now up to temperature. You can then come over to the printer, come right here, grab this fan, and flip it up and out of the way. That releases this wheel, which is pinching between this sprocket and this bearing, which then allows you to pull the filament out of the hole. Okay, take this spool off, replace it with the new spool color. And you're going to take the end of your filament, it's going to come down, go into this hole, and if you look down here you can see filament comes through and it has to feed into the white hole. Another thing we're going to want to do is come over here, raise the Z by 20 by clicking twice. Going to make the head come up. And you can push this down and make sure that it starts to extrude out a little bit of filament. Okay, once it's extruding a little bit of filament, you know it's in there. We're then going to take this and position it like this, flip it down into place, ensuring that these lines meet back up. That'll repinch the filament in between here. It should be nice and tight in there. Feel the tension. Okay. And we can come back over here and click on the extrude, and that will extrude out a little bit of the filament. Click on that a few times until it starts to come out the color you want it to be. You can see now that it's starting to come out instead of silver, it's coming out as purple, which is the color we have going in there. Always be careful because this area down here is very, very hot and will burn you. So if you have plastic down here and you need to clean it out, use this pair of tweezers to reach in and grab that out. Okay, so we're going to go back to the object placement panel. This is where you're going to add your downloaded STL file by clicking on this button here, Add STL File. Okay, so it's going to come into the downloads, and we're going to open up this guy here, which we've downloaded from Thingiverse. Okay, now this grid is representing the print build area. Each of these squares is a centimeter, so it's 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, or 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters. So this right now is sized to be printing really quite small. So we can adjust that here. We can come up here to Scale. We can change the scale by typing in a value. So this is increasing the value by 4.5. And that's looking pretty good. I think we would probably go a little bigger than that. Let's try 5. And try centering it. Okay, so I centered the object by clicking Center Object. And notice that now it's turned pink. Pink meaning that it is within the build volume. So you can see that I have this selected now, that I can rotate this around, see around the object. If I click on this button here, it allows me to move the object, and you can see as I move it outside the build volume it turns green. When it's inside the build volume it turns purple. So if I center the object. Alright, these other buttons, you can play around with them. They show you different views, different perspectives. Again, rotate it around, see the model. The main thing we want to do is just make sure that it fits within the build volume and the scale is appropriate. Alright, the next step, you're going to come here, click on the Slicer panel. Slicer is the program that is going to take the model, divide it up into layers, and generate a G-code, which is the code the printer uses to know how to move. So these are the basic settings. We're going to do simple. The printer is the Printrbot, and we're using just 1.75 millimeter PLA. With all those things in, we're going to go ahead and hit Slice with Slicer. So you'll see Slicer will open up down here, and it'll start to process. Now this is something you have to watch out for. It says, warning, the input file contains a hole near the edge, meaning that this model is not perfect. It has a hole in it. It has a glitch. That may affect whether it prints well or not. Alright, so it's come now into the G-code panel. Right, so it's brought up our G-code. This is the G-code right here. These are all the coordinates that tells how the printer moves. And again, so this window is kind of the same as the object placement window, but the difference is now these are the G-code layers. If you click on this button right here, it'll show the single layer at a time. You can jog up through the layers by clicking this button. So you can see that it's moving up through the layers, and you can see what each layer is going to look like. Now, especially if you have a model that says that it has a hole or it gives you a warning, you're going to want to go through these layers and just kind of look at them and see if you can see anything that looks wrong with it. So far this one's looking okay. There's also a program online that you can upload bad files to with holes, and will repair them and make them work again. So now we have this model sliced and ready to print. So from here you can go to the print panel. So you can click on this tab right here and it will show you the temperature curve, and it will show you that the temperature of the nozzle is already up to 200 degrees, which is the printing temperature. Click back to 3D view, and we're going to click the Run button to go ahead and start the print. The printer should move, should home all the axes. The Z-axis homes down and then comes back up, waits for the temperature to get to temperature, which it already is, and it should start drawing the skirt. Now it draws an outline around first, and the outline is there to show you a few things. It's there to show you that that the printer is printing, and that the filament is sticking down to the surface of the bed, and also ensures that you're printing within the build volume. So watch that first layer, make sure it goes down nice and smooth. As long as that goes in smooth, you should have a successful print. So you can see here, as it's printing, it's kind of showing you the lines that are being sent to the printer. And they're red when they're first coming out, representing the fact that the plastic is still hot in those areas. And then they slowly turn purple as time passes, showing that that area, that plastic, is cooled off. And this will continue and build up all the way, and you can watch the progress here as it goes along. While this is printing and working, you can go back here, you can change things here, and you can change things in Slicer and in G-code without disrupting what's going on here. Another note is that this G-code that was generated has been saved in a temporary file. So once you shut Repetier down, or replace this with loading another G-code or slicing another model to G-code, this will be lost. If you wanted to print another one of these objects with the exact same settings, you would need to click here and save this G-code as what it is. So now you could come back, reload that G-code again, and print the exact same thing over again. Alright, so the print is going. It's estimating this print's going to take 2 hours and 16 minutes. The print time that is estimated, the estimate is generally going to be showing a lot faster than it will actually print. And that's because the print estimate is based off of what the G-code says, how fast the moves can go. The printer itself has limitations on how fast it can start up and slow down between changing directions, as well as maximum speeds it can move, and it doesn't take those things into account. So even though it says it's going to take 2 hours and 15 minutes, it's probably going to take double that. So just be aware of that. Okay, as you are printing, if you were looking and notice that there's something going wrong, or for some reason you need to pause the print, make sure you hit the pause print button. Okay. If you hit kill job or emergency stop, it will abort the printing and you'll have to start over. If you hit pause, there's a chance that you can go back and save the print. If you hit kill or emergency stop, you'll be restarting the print, which may be inevitable. But hit pause as a general rule, and then once you kind of have the problem resolved, say the spool got pulled down or got tangled, once you got it untangled, you could then hit continue print and it will pick back up where it was and continue the print. Once your print is finished, you can take it off of the bed. Be aware that the tip, the very last layer, might still be warm, so be careful not to deform or deshape it as you take it off. But everything down here should be plenty hard and cool. So you should be able to grab it, depending on what it is, and carefully just pry it off of the bed. If it's kind of stiff and hard to get off, you can try and get underneath it with a razor blade or your fingernail. Again, peel this little ring off, get underneath it, peel it off. So the tape is still in good shape, that's good, ready to print for the next one.